Imagine two of the greatest powers of the ancient world locked in a brutal war that lasted 23 years. Neither side was willing to surrender. Their navies were wiped out, their economies were ruined, but their pride refused to let them stop. This is the story of the First Punic War, a conflict so long and devastating that it nearly destroyed both Rome and Carthage. It all began in 264 BC over the island of Sicily. Carthage had dominated the Western Mediterranean for generations and saw Sicily as part of their sphere of influence. When a group of Italian mercenaries took control of the city of Messana and asked both Rome and Carthage for help, it created a dangerous flashpoint. Rome saw an opportunity to expand beyond Italy for the first time. Carthage saw it as a direct threat. What started as a local conflict quickly turned into a full-scale war between two rising empires. At the beginning, Carthage had the clear advantage at sea. Rome had almost no navy. But Rome refused to accept defeat. In a short time, they built a massive fleet and introduced a game-changing weapon called the Corvus, a boarding bridge with a heavy spike that allowed Roman soldiers to turn naval battles into land battles. This single invention helped Rome win several early victories and forced Carthage to completely change their strategy. However, victory came at a terrible price. In 255 BC, after General Regulus led a bold invasion into North Africa and won several battles near Carthage itself, a massive storm destroyed most of the returning Roman fleet. Over 100,000 Roman soldiers died in storms during this war alone. Most nations would have collapsed. Rome kept rebuilding. On land, Regulus was initially successful, but when he demanded Carthage's unconditional surrender, he made a critical mistake. Instead of weakening them, his arrogance united Carthage against him. They hired a Spartan general named Xanthippus, who reorganized their army and used war elephants and cavalry on open ground. The result was a crushing defeat for Rome at the Battle of Tunis. Regulus was captured and Rome's invasion failed. What followed was a brutal 9-year stalemate on Sicily. During this time, Carthage's most effective commander was Hamilcar Barca. While other generals tried to fight Rome head-on, Hamilcar used smart guerrilla tactics, raiding supply lines and avoiding large battles, where Roman discipline gave them the advantage. He kept Roman forces frustrated and exhausted for years. By 241 BC, both sides were financially broken. Carthage, believing Rome was finally finished, began cutting back on their navy to save money. That decision proved fatal. Rome, despite being nearly bankrupt, built one final fleet with the help of wealthy citizens who donated their own money. At the Battle of the Agates Islands, this new Roman fleet caught Carthage completely off guard and destroyed what remained of their navy. Carthage was forced to accept humiliating peace terms. They lost Sicily, had to pay a massive indemnity, and later lost Corsica and Sardinia as well. But the most dangerous consequence was not territorial, it was psychological. Before leaving Sicily, Hamilcar Barca made his young son Hannibal swear an oath of eternal hatred toward Rome. That boy would grow up to become Rome's greatest enemy. So here's my question. Do you think Rome won this war because of superior strategy, or simply because they were willing to keep fighting long after any rational nation would have surrendered? And do you believe the harsh peace terms made the Second Punic War inevitable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to see how Hannibal carried out his father's oath and nearly brought Rome to its knees, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. After the First Punic War, Carthage was humiliated. They lost Sicily, paid a massive indemnity, and were forced to accept Rome's growing dominance. But one man refused to accept defeat. His name was Hannibal Barca, and he would go on to become Rome's greatest nightmare. Before leaving Sicily, Hannibal's father, Hamilcar Barca, made his young son swear an eternal oath of hatred toward Rome. That oath would shape the rest of his life. When Hannibal took command of Carthaginian forces in Spain, he knew that another war with Rome was inevitable. But instead of waiting for Rome to attack, he decided to bring the war directly to Italy. In 218 BC, Hannibal did something that still shocks historians today. With an army of around 40,000 men and dozens of war elephants, he marched from Spain, crossed the Pyrenees, and then performed one of the most legendary military feats in history, crossing the Alps in late autumn. The journey was brutal. Thousands of soldiers and most of the elephants died from cold, starvation, and attacks by local tribes. But Hannibal and what remained of his army emerged in northern Italy, completely surprising the Romans. Rome was not prepared for war on their own soil. Hannibal quickly showed why he was considered a military genius. At the Battle of Trebia, and later at Lake Trasimene, he used superior tactics and terrain to crush larger Roman armies. But his greatest victory came in 216 BC at the Battle of Cannae. At Cannae, Hannibal faced a Roman army nearly twice the size of his own, using a brilliant double envelopment tactic. He allowed his center to retreat, while his cavalry and infantry on the wings surrounded the Romans. The result was one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history. Over 50,000 Roman soldiers were killed in a single day, the worst military disaster Rome had ever suffered. After Cannae, many expected Rome to surrender. Instead, they showed the same stubborn resilience they had demonstrated in the First Punic War. They refused to negotiate with Hannibal and adopted a new strategy under the leadership of Quintus Fabius Maximus, known as the Delayer. Fabius avoided direct battles and instead harassed Hannibal's army, cutting off supplies and wearing them down over time. For over a decade, Hannibal remained in Italy, winning battles but never being able to deliver a final blow to Rome. Meanwhile, a young Roman general named Scipio Africanus was rising in importance. Scipio understood that the best way to defeat Hannibal was not to fight him in Italy, but to attack Carthage directly. In 204 BC, Scipio invaded North Africa. This forced Hannibal to finally leave Italy and return home to defend Carthage. The two greatest generals of their age finally met at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. This time, Scipio had learned from Hannibal's tactics. He neutralized Carthage's war elephants and used superior Roman discipline to win a decisive victory. The Second Punic War was over. Carthage was forced to accept even harsher terms than before. Hannibal himself was eventually forced into exile and spent the rest of his life as a fugitive, always one step ahead of Roman agents. So here's my question for you. Do you think Hannibal was the greatest general in history? Or did he ultimately fail because he couldn't turn battlefield victories into a final political victory? And do you believe Rome's ability to recover from disasters like Cannae was the real reason they eventually dominated the ancient world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to continue this series and explore how Rome finally destroyed Carthage in the Third Punic War, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.